to the Hoop Show. I'm your host, Chad Cook, and with us as always is Marcus Shockley from BasketballElite.com, and a special guest this week is Corey Pegram with Blogger So Dear and also recruitinghype.blogspot.com. We have a great show. Let's get right to it. Our first topic today is a young man, class of 2013, committed to go to Seton Hall University. Aquille Carr has gotten into some trouble, and we're going to go ahead and let Marcus take that topic for us.
Yeah, Chad, what's the situation is that Aquille Carr, who's a really dynamic point guard in the class of 2013, the Baltimore Sun reported that last Friday he was arrested for assault. Now, he hasn't been convicted yet, but it seems pretty serious, and it's really made it's really put his future in jeopardy. I know immediately the effect is that the Elite 24 that was coming up, and he was on the roster. It's an all-star game that Under Armour is involved with, has already announced that he won't be on that roster as of now. So that's an immediate impact. The secondary thing is more long-lasting, is that Seton Hall is taking a hard look and deciding whether they want to leave him as a scholarship player or not. Now, with Aquille, this isn't the first time that he's had some issues. Now, he hasn't been charged with anything in the past, but there's been some incidents before. There was last summer, there was a story that came out where he supposedly had been offered $750,000 to go play overseas for the same pro team that Brandon Jennings had played for, and it seems unlikely that that was true. There was, there's just been a lot of things. I think there was some parties that he had promoted where there was drinking or he had been involved with. So while, again, it's important to state he has not been convicted of anything and he is innocent until proven guilty, it does look like right now his future is kind of up in the air.
Yes, and he is a very sad thing. But he is a dynamic player, and we definitely wish the best for Aquille. Now, moving on, and we're going to bring Corey into this discussion. There's been a lot of discussion and a lot of opinions revolving around the issue of who is the best player in the class of 2013. Jabari Parker has kind of held that number one ranking with different recruiting services, and he was on the front cover of Sports Illustrated. But a guy named Julius Randle, who we saw at the Peach Jam, is definitely a force to be reckoned with as well. Corey, give us your opinion of those two guys.
Yeah, thanks, Chad. And as you mentioned, the debate over who is the top prospect in that class has been a pretty relevant one this summer. I have one of the two ahead of the other in my mind, and I'll get into that in a minute. But I'll start with Parker. He's a 6'8" small forward out of Simeon High School in Chicago, and I got a chance to see him at the NBA Top 100 camp earlier this summer. His overall skill set just immediately jumps out at you. He's got a developed jump shot off the catch and off the dribble, and he can get it off pretty much whenever he wants to right now, just due to his size and ability to create separation. And he's not just a jump shooting type of guy either. He's got an advanced handle for his size. He knows how to get others involved, but at the same time, he does a really good job of being aggressive himself, which is a really good thing just because he's usually the best overall player on the floor. And the other thing with him is that he just has the mindset to be the guy. He wants the ball in his hands in big situations, and he accepts challenges. And I think that's just the type of guy he is. He has that mentality of a winner. To me, his only main setback, I guess, at this point is his lack of elite explosiveness. He doesn't have that crazy athleticism or jumping ability that some of the other top prospects have. But obviously, overall, he's a big-time player and prospect. Now moving on to Julius Randle. He's a 6'9" lefty power forward from Dallas, Texas. And he's just 225 pounds of pure strength. He's probably the most physically dominant force in high school basketball right now. He really just kind of overpowers people and gets to where he wants on the floor and pretty much does what he wants. He's very explosive, has a really quick jump, and is really agile for his size as well. And he's also got a solid skill set. Really, to me, he's the type of guy who can bully you on the block by backing you down and scoring over you, or he can face you up and get by you with a quick move and finish above the rim. He scores well, and he's a dominant rebounder on both ends of the floor. I think at one game at Peach Jam, he finished with 31 points and 17 rebounds, 8 of which were on the offensive glass. So he's really just a guy who battles on both ends of the floor and has the talent to match that competitive nature. So I do think he'll need to gain a better understanding of how to handle double teams. And another major plus with him is that he can drift to the perimeter and still make an impact. So I guess overall, he's an elite prospect who scores, rebounds, and competes with the best of them. He's definitely one of those guys whose game and talent translate pretty well to the next level and probably beyond. And I think, to me, this is what gives Randle the edge over Parker as the best prospect in the 2013 class. He's got more upside and potential, and his size and explosiveness just translates so well to that next level. And I think once he further develops his already pretty polished skill set, I think he can become that same dominant force at the college level that he is at the high school level. So both players, obviously big-time prospects and guys who are likely one-and-done candidates when they reach college. So it'll definitely be fun to track them throughout their senior seasons to see if one of the two can separate himself from the rest.
Yeah, and I haven't seen Parker in person, but I saw Randle, and I saw him in particular play against Andrew Wiggins, who at 6'7" is as athletic as they come, and Randle went after him from the perimeter time after time, and Wiggins did a great job, by the way, but Randle looked very comfortable facing the basket, off the bounce, creating, finishing. He really turned it on when the pressure was at its highest point. So I am so impressed with him, and I'm sure that Parker, obviously is extremely impressive as well. So thank you for that input on those two guys. And now we'll move to Jonathan Hargett. A little bit like our opening story, this young man has had a little bit of a checkered past. He played at West Virginia around a decade ago, and he came out this week and made some claims about the kind of money that he was promised to play and either paid or not paid. And so, Marcus, why don't you bring us up to speed on that story?
Yeah, Chad, you're talking, of course, about Jonathan Hargett, the player that played at the same time in high school as and with Amari Stoudemire and Marquise Daniels, Jarrett Jack. They all played at the same high school at a couple of different places. And he's actually serving the last few months of a prison sentence that he ended up having to serve after playing a year in West Virginia. And there's a lot to his story that's a cautionary tale, to say the least. But the sensational part of this story is the fact that he claims that he was going to be paid $20,000 a game, I believe, to play while he was at West Virginia. And while, of course, West Virginia coaches deny this and everything, and I don't know if there's any proof to this beyond this story, it does show that at least he probably did believe it, and it is confirmed that he did get some favors from some runners. I think there was some jewelry and phones and things like that were given to him, and at the time he was considered to be a prospect to be one of the first, or maybe the first point guard to jump directly to the league. So there's some validity to his story. He was an extremely gifted point guard, extremely athletic. He did have drug problems when he was in high school. His talent allowed people to ignore that. But it's not only a cautionary tale. It shows that some of the issues with paying players and things like that have been going on for some time. It's not something that just came up in the past couple of years.
Yeah. Well, to a more pleasing topic, maybe. It's fall, and contrary to popular belief, it is not high school football time for guys like us. It is fall league basketball time. And Marcus, you were at one of the best fall leagues just this past weekend. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that league before we jump into the video footage?
Yeah, Chad, it's the J.D. Lewis Fall League, and we'll talk about that when I go into the highlights. But fall leagues are something that are somewhat of an unknown and a new structure that's just been showing up recently. That players can have a chance to play between the AAU season and the high school season, and usually there's no coaches. It's better than pickup as far as there actually are teams and structures and stats. But anyway, that's exactly what it is. We're starting to see more of them, and the J.D. Lewis Center is actually one of the first ones in the region to do that. The J.D. Lewis Center in Raleigh, North Carolina, is home to some of the best grassroots basketball in the state. One of the highlight events held at the center each year is the J.D. Lewis Fall League, where high school players from the Triangle and surrounding areas come in to compete against each other and work on their games before the school season starts. There's no coaches in the teams, Players decide between themselves when to substitute, what to run on the court. Each team plays 2 games per night until the playoffs, and then like any good league, there's a run to the championship game. This year there are 2 sessions. The first session is already sold out. The league has grown significantly in the second year. Organizers of the event, coaches Dwayne West and Chris Myatt, are happy with the progress that they've seen so far. The Fall League has already established itself as a showcase for the players who should have breakout seasons during the year, and many of the players from last season were able to find college offers after starting their year at J.D. Lewis. This year's crop of players already has scouts checking them out in hopes of finding the new talent before they even start classes. Watching the opening games of this year's event, it's obvious that several of the teams have some players who either already have college interest or will be getting college interest soon. For more information about the Fall League and how to participate, contact Chris Myatt at the J.D. Lewis Center.
One of the great things about having Marcus Shackley and Basketball Elite involved with this show is the fact that Marcus knows so many great coaches at the high school and AAU levels. Just recently, Marcus spent some time with one of those coaches.
Hi guys, I'm here today at Bishop McGuinness High School in Kernersville, North Carolina. Joining me today is Coach Josh Thompson, head boys basketball coach at Bishop. Coach Thompson also has a state championship under his belt, as well as being an AAU coach for the NC Spartans. Today, Coach is going to show us some tips and tricks on the court to help make your game better.
We're going to talk about the pick and roll situation today. There's 3 reasons we do the pick and roll. Number 1, we do it to create mismatches. If a team switches, we're usually going to have a guard with a big trying to defend them, and that's a situation we want to get into. Another thing the pick and roll does is it creates help and recover situations, and that's what we want teams back on their heels with us attacking and them trying to react to what we're doing. And then the third thing the pick and roll does, it allows for us to keep the ball in the hands of the player that we want to have, so we can hopefully minimize our turnovers. So the 3 things: create mismatches, create help and recover situations, and limit turnovers. Those are the 3 reasons we try to do the pick and roll. Okay, we're trying to get into our pick and roll situation. The number 1 thing is the guard with the ball has got to wait. He can't go early. If Corey's coming to set the ball screen and Christian takes off, we're not going to get anything out of it. So the guard has to wait. So the guard's going to wait. Corey's going to come over and set the ball screen, and he's going to hit a body right here. Corey's goal is to make the defender go over the ball screen. So let's walk through that. Christian, take it up, and Nate's going to have to go over the ball screen. Now the guard is weighted. When he comes off the ball screen, he doesn't want to go wide. He wants to go shoulder to shoulder or shoulder to hip off the ball screen. Corey's done a great job of making Nate, the defender, go over the top of the screen. So we always want to make the defender go over top of the screen. Next, we're going to look at Christian's job right now. His defender's out of the play. He's not worried about him anymore. Christian is in total attack mode. He's going to attack the rim right now, trying to get to the paint. Now our big man's job, after the pick and roll situation, after the pick occurs, our big guy is going to roll to the basket. And we always want to roll the shoulder that the ball goes off of. We're always going to drop that shoulder. So Corey's going to open up, give us a hand target to the goal. Christian's going to get to the paint, and Corey's rolling to the goal with a hand target. Now the ball handler's job, you come off and get your team a shot. That's your number 1 goal. It doesn't matter if he gets the shot, the roll man gets the shot, or somebody else gets the shot. The ball's job, get your team a shot, and we're going to trust you to make the right decision.
Thank you for watching, and tune in next week for The Hoop Show.